Well, happy Thursday to you. I'm meteorologist Justin Gehrts, and thanks for joining us here on the 10 Weather Impact Show. Certainly a warmer afternoon out there, a lot of sunshine. I was out at Memorial Tournament for our noon newscast, and tell you what, in that sun, whew, it was feeling pretty warm for sure. I made sure to have on the sunscreen, even though I was going to be only out for a short time, was definitely necessary as that sun is awfully bright out there. You can feel every bit of that early June brightness to the sun as, yeah, when you're in there, you get pretty toasty. Now, that is going to be something we have the next couple of days around here. Also watching Saturday as we have a 10 weather impact alert for the afternoon and evening hours as some scattered thunderstorms do develop that day. Gusty winds and hail are possible from the strongest storms if everything comes together just right. So what you can do right now, just stay weather aware. Make sure you're staying with us here on 10TV, 10TV.com. 10TV app as well, just as we fine-tune what our expectations are as we go throughout the next couple of days. Again, this is for Saturday in the PM hours. We'll have an hour by hour in just a moment. In the meantime, here's that severe weather outlook for Saturday as we see areas generally north of I-70 in that level 2 out of 5 risk of a severe storm. But most of the state at least has a potential for a strong to severe storm, but it really is about the northern half or so of the state of Ohio. Tornado risk is fairly low. Flooding risk is pretty low as well. Of course, we've been dry now for over a week, and any storms that do develop, while they could have some downpours, they're not going to hang out over the same locations over and over and over again. So again, mainly watching for the potential for gusty winds and perhaps hail out of those strongest storms coming up later on Saturday. Memorial Tournament, of course, we are seeing the sunshine out there today, mid-80s, about 86 tomorrow. It is going to be more breezy for Friday as well. Winds of 10 to 20 miles an hour could affect play a little bit. Then again on Saturday, we have those occasional rounds of showers and thunderstorms. May have a few of them in the morning, but those will not be strong to severe. Those are just general garden variety bits of activity. It's the later part of the day that we're watching for the potential for some stronger storms, if, again, everything comes together just right. As I mentioned, a lot of sunshine out there. We are seeing some high, thin clouds drifting in from the northwest. You see kind of this clockwise motion here. High pressure is in control of our weather. And when we have high pressure around, it typically means our weather is pretty quiet. And when you know it, it has been that way lately and is still the case today. So with that sunshine, UV index, very high category. It's at a 9. Here's what you need to do, not just today, but tomorrow as well. Have the wide-brimmed hat and sunglasses if you can. I saw a lot of folks out at the golf course wearing their wide hats and also pants. It's just another area that you're covered up, which is great to cover that exposed skin as much as you can. Sunscreen of at least SPF 30. The higher the better in a lot of cases. And of course, just reduce your exposure to the sun. If you can limit being outdoors in the midday hours, that's great. Find the shade when you can. Of course, you'll feel cooler as well. Something else with the clear skies, the potential to see some northern lights coming up tonight. Now, there is some of that energy coming our way. Could make it visible low on the horizon. However, space weather is a tricky thing, and the timing of it may be a little early for us to see much if what I was looking at a little while ago would be right. It would be happening more so before sunset for us. But keep an eye on things, and if you have the time, maybe still go out this evening after about 9:30 or so and check things out, just in case you want to check it out. However, as I mentioned, these can be pretty iffy, so don't plan on seeing anything, but if you're out, at least stargaze a little bit. And if you want to check things out low on the horizon, make sure there's no light pollution on that northern horizon. And of course, let your eyes adjust for at least 15 minutes. And as often the case, if there are any northern lights, what you see on your phone camera is going to be more vivid than what you can see with your naked eye. All right, temperatures also taking off with that sunshine. We're at 80 in Columbus, 83 Circleville, 80 in Marysville and Mount Gilead, 82 in Zanesville, so certainly a warm but seasonably warm afternoon. It's not terribly muggy out there, at least. That's some good news. However, the humidity does increase over the next few days. Still have the dew points in the 50s today and tomorrow, but check out the weekend and into next week. Dew points, or how much moisture in the air, basically, rise into the 60s. Fairly humid, not oppressive, but with those temperatures in the 80s, there'll be enough there that you notice it for sure. All right, here's that hour-by-hour forecast. Going into the evening hours, again, some passing high clouds, no big deal. Want to do some grilling, the weather is going to be just fine for that. Overnight, not much change there either. We see a mostly clear sky. Tomorrow we'll start to see a few more of those the clouds thickening up just a little bit. We'll still say generally speaking mostly sunny, but you'll notice gradually during the day those clouds increase a bit. Still dry though for your Friday. Friday overnight, not much happening, but there might be a shower storm that develops late. Here's 8 a.m. Saturday. Kind of some speckles on the radar map here indicating that, yes, some spotty activity ought to be around early on Saturday. As I mentioned, nothing severe, just garden variety sort of activity. Now, depending on how long that stays around, how many clouds stay around, that will affect what happens later on. If stuff gets out of here, we see a decent amount of clearing, we'll get more energy and more likelihood of seeing some of those storms which may be strong to severe Saturday afternoon and evening. If the clouds hang on longer, that limits our potential for severe weather. Of course, both scenarios we'd be watching for. In any case, I would just plan for the real potential that some of those storms could be strong to severe Saturday afternoon and evening. Again, you'll notice here, 4 p.m., 8 p.m., there are some areas of that orange and red showing up. As we get past sunset, a lot of this starts to wane a little bit, but I do anticipate even during the day on Sunday, we'll probably see some redevelopment, mainly south of I-70 for Sunday. Today, though, mostly sunny skies, 85. Winds are fairly light. Sunset is at 8:56 p.m. Tomorrow's going to be a little on the breezy side, so that could be a factor for the Memorial Tournament. 10 to 20 mile an hour winds may gust a little bit higher. In any case, it is going to be warm. 86 is your high there. 10 weather impact alert for Saturday p.m. Some off and on showers and storms throughout the day, but the most likelihood of them being strong is going to be later in the day. For Sunday, still some lingering showers, maybe a rumble of thunder, but it does not look nearly as widespread or significant for that matter. Still around 85. Check out next week. There we see highs staying in the mid to even upper 80s from time to time. A few more shower and storm chances along about Tuesday and Wednesday as well. Doesn't look like much coming out of those, but we will keep an eye on that as we get closer. Just because, of course, now that we're getting into those warmer and more humid days, it's easier for those storms to maybe be a little on the stronger side. But again, focused on Saturday for the time being. So, in the meantime, just try to enjoy this nice weather while we have it. Of course, you can see that things are warm in our forecast compared to just a few weeks back, and that pattern will only continue into the summer. This heat can often be much worse inside urban areas. In fact, extreme heat is now the deadliest weather-related threat in the U.S., killing more people than hurricanes, wildfires, floods combined. And thanks to climate change, summers are only getting hotter. Cities are especially vulnerable because of what's known as the urban heat island effect. Ben Tracy with our partners at Climate Central take us to one Boston area neighborhood trying to beat the heat and find potential solutions for cities across the country.
There are always some days that I feel like we live in the middle of the Sahara Desert.
For Arwa Aitchaib and her mom Wafa, it's summertime, and the living is not so easy.
What is it like in the height of summer on a really hot day around here?
I just can't stand it. It's like I feel sticky, it's humid out, and if you go out, the sun immediately burns your skin.
They live in Chelsea, Massachusetts, in the shadow of Boston, but real shade is hard to find.
We had no tree over here at all.
Chelsea is a classic urban heat island, covered in pavement and packed with parked cars that soak up and radiate heat. Climate Central research shows peak temperatures in these areas can be 15 to 20 degrees hotter than those with more trees and water.
We're basically an island of hot stuff.
Bianca Bowman works with Green Roots, a local group trying to cool down some of the city's hottest spots. They've turned this one single block into an urban laboratory called the Cool Block.
So we looked at those spots and said, okay, where can we throw as many solutions as possible to cool those areas down?
1, 2, 3.
They've planted more than 100 trees, resurfaced streets in lighter colors to reflect heat.
This looks great, but this isn't just about looks.
And rooftops are getting a bright white makeover.
So when you paint a rooftop white, it's actually reflecting heat instead of absorbing heat.
Fixes like these could save lives as climate change fuels longer and more intense heat waves. Climate Central analyzed 217 U.S. cities and found that 88% are experiencing more extremely hot summer days compared to 55 years ago.
Would you mind putting this on? Yeah.
This summer, Boston University researchers are giving some Chelsea residents devices to track heat exposure.
See that sensor in the tree right there?
While sensors on the Cool Block monitor air temperature changes as trees grow and provide more shade.
Research shows that parks, trees, and green spaces can reduce peak urban temperatures by up to 9 degrees. Of course, finding space in big crowded cities is not always easy. So the folks that design them have to make the most of what they've got.
It's 1 acre of land. It's a former traffic island. Nothing but gravel was here.
Chris Reed is a landscape architect. He's worked on innovative urban forestry projects for Boston and Cambridge.
How many trees did you plant on this little strip of land?
400 trees, 1 acre.
If I just look directly at you, it looks like we're in the middle of the woods somewhere.
Exactly right.
And then I look over here and we're on what feels like a highway.
No, it's exactly right. So you don't need acres and acres and acres of land. These kinds of places are in cities everywhere and can be transformed one by one.
In Chelsea, a park will soon replace pavement right behind the Eitscheib family's home.
Does it feel like your neighborhood is getting better?
For sure.
I can agree on that one.
We can feel the difference. When you go out, you can feel the breeze. You can feel like it's getting better.
For Climate Central, I'm Ben Tracy in Chelsea, Massachusetts.
All right, and turning now to the tropics. While the Atlantic is still quiet this afternoon, over in the Eastern Pacific, we now have our first named tropical storm of the 2026 season, Tropical Storm Amanda. It's a pretty weak one, though, and it's pretty common for the Eastern Pacific to have a bit more activity early on compared to the Atlantic, especially with El Nino. That tends to make the Eastern Pacific be a bit more active while suppressing activity in the Atlantic. Here's how things look with Amanda. It's well off any land areas. It'll remain a fish storm. In fact, it's more than 1,500 miles west-southwest of the southern tip of Baja California. Has sustained winds of 40 miles per hour as it moves to the northwest at 9 miles per hour. It's going to be tracking more toward the west over the next couple of days, and you'll notice the top wind speeds don't get much stronger, and as we go into the weekend, it does eventually kind of diminish and will be a pretty weak system into early next week. So no impacts to land out there, but it is a sign that, yes, we are moving into summertime here with Tropical Storm Amanda. Also in the Eastern Pacific, 2 more areas the National Hurricane Center is monitoring. Those red X's in areas around there indicate a high chance of development over the coming days, so they'll be watching for that. Could be systems B and C here coming up in the next several days if those do end up developing. Meanwhile, out in the Atlantic, no areas of tropical activity expected in the next 7 days. Just a couple of non-tropical disturbances working across the Atlantic Ocean basin there, as we see a couple of just normal weather systems scooting across there, and some thunderstorm activity down in the middle of the Atlantic. However, again, nothing expected with any tropical development out of those. So really, we'll just keep an eye on that as we go along here. But of course, not much activity in the Atlantic for the time being, and nothing of concern in the Pacific at this point either. All right, sticking with our oceans, but turning now to a new use for them in pursuit of clean energy. When you think of solar power, you probably picture those big fields packed with panels, but California just flipped the switch on a new kind of project built over water. Ben Tracy, with our partners at Climate Central again, shows us it's not just generating clean electricity, it's helping conserve one of our most precious resources.
These canals provide really that backbone water supply that allows this community to really thrive.
In California's Central Valley, irrigation canals are the arteries keeping the heart of this crucial American farmland alive.
That system was designed over 130 years ago. It works great.
Josh Weimer works for the Turlock Irrigation District. Founded in 1887, it's the oldest in the state.
You don't see this kind of thing every day.
Now, they're trying something new.
Can you span canals with solar panels, and what's the benefit? Because we have 250 miles of canals, and so where does it make the most sense?
They call it Project Nexus, a $20 million state-funded pilot to transform canals into clean energy corridors. Cool water underneath makes the solar panels more productive, and the shade they provide cuts water loss from evaporation.
It's almost 100 degrees out here, right? That thing's making a lot of shade.
Jordan Harris co-founded Solar Aquagrid, the project manager. The idea took off after a study from UC Merced, co-authored by Brandy McEwen, showed the potential benefits.
If we covered all 4,000 miles of California's major canals, we could save up to 63 billion gallons of water annually.
Wow, that's pretty significant.
That's enough to irrigate 50,000 acres while powering California's push for clean energy.
The value of water is only going to go up. Our needs for energy are only going up. We need to look at solutions like this.
Solar is the fastest growing electricity source in the U.S., up nearly 8-fold in a decade, according to Climate Central. It's key to phasing out fossil fuels and their heat-trapping emissions that are warming the planet.
Canals like this one in California are not the only place where water and solar are coming together. In fact, they're also now teaming up on ponds and lakes all around the world.
Floating solar, or photovoltaics, are making waves from California to New Jersey, creating clean energy without taking up valuable land. In China, the world's largest offshore solar farm spans 2,000 football fields of water, powering 2.6 million people.
This location has 2 different solar arrays.
Josh Weimer says they will soon install a retractable solar system that could save even more water, testing whether the promise outweighs the price.
So right now you don't know if this really makes long-term financial sense.
Not yet. There are potential benefits from this, but we got to make sure that it doesn't impact the reliability and affordability of the water being delivered.
If it works, it could turn waterways like these into currents of clean energy. For Climate Central, I'm Ben Tracy in California's Central Valley.
All right, and finally today, let's look at some new video into 10 TV. First up, body cam footage caught the moment police officers rescued a woman from flash flooding during a hailstorm in Aurora, Colorado back on June 1st. The Aurora police said officers safely rescued the driver and gave her a ride home. They posted, quote, "Moments like this are a reminder that floodwaters can be unpredictable and dangerous. If you encounter water covering a roadway, turn around and find an alternate route," end quote. And just a note to add to this video, while it looks like they're walking through an icy winter river, that's actually floating hail from the severe thunderstorm that moved through, causing that flood. Just a monumental amount of hail following of that storm. Just so much. And those higher elevations around Denver can be notorious for having those big hailstorms. But yeah, just covering the ground there, pretty remarkable. I can certainly understand why it may have been a little difficult to even get a sense that something may have been covered just because of the amount of hail that was in that area. Wow. Yeah, it looks like little icebergs just floating through the street. That's really something. All right, finally today, Northrop Grumman shipped the final 8 twin solid rocket booster motor segments for NASA's Artemis 3 mission to Kennedy Space Center in Florida, where they will be stacked this summer. The boosters departed by rail from Utah on Tuesday, hauled by a commemorative Union Pacific locomotive that commemorates America's 250th anniversary. Upon arrival, the booster segments will join the previously delivered segments shipped in April to be the first hardware assembled on the mobile launch platform. That's cool, just in and of itself, seeing the cool design on that train there. But yeah, delivering some important parts for the next phase of that Artemis mission. And I'm surprised it arrived so quickly. There you go, Promontory, Utah. Actually, I think that's where the Golden Spike was put in, if I'm not mistaken. So pretty cool history with that as well. So as far as our weather, the next couple of days, things are warm, yes, but no active weather today or tomorrow. Just seasonably warm highs in the mid-80s. Mugginess starts to increase going into the weekend, and that will help fuel some showers and thunderstorms, particularly on Saturday. While there may be some activity in the morning, it does appear the afternoon and evening are going to be the most likely time that we may see some stronger to severe storms. Not a guarantee. All the ingredients still need to come together for that, but at least the potential is there, looking at some of the energy, some of how the air is moving or the winds are moving high in the air, would at least support seeing some scattered strong to severe storms if everything does come together just right. Then for Sunday, any lingering showers and storms ought to be non-severe and will gradually push southward as the day goes on. Then for next week, we stay pretty warm with those temperatures staying well into the 80s. So do keep in mind, it is going to be pretty toasty out there after some cooler weather that we had for at least part of the month of May out there. So again, stay weather aware. We'll have all the latest updates coming up at 4 o'clock. Chief Meteorologist Chris Tomer will be here to give you the latest from Memorial Tournament. See how things are looking for that for the next couple of days into the weekend. And of course, you can always find the latest information at 10tv.com and on the 10TV app. In the meantime, have a fantastic afternoon.